At the end of the last devlog, I said I wanted to get some UI work done. And I kinda did that. A little. I'll admit, I got a little off track here. If this is your first time on the channel, Ponpai is a tactical strategy game where you befriend monsters and have them join your team. If you want to know more about the game, the introductory video will be linked in the description. To get the UI stuff out of the way first, I've recontextualized the team builder and team placements as pages in a social media service. The idea was that you'd be scrolling through a list of friends and selecting which ones you call for battle. But to be honest, I think the idea made more sense in my head. I might go back on this idea in a future update. Another small change I did here was remove the Ponpai sprites having to dart across the screen every time you loaded a page. Now they snap into place automatically, and it only took like 3 lines of code. The inventory now has a scroll bar, meaning I have more space for items in the future. I'm thinking of changing this to buttons, like how the team builder works, but we'll see. It also won't show you items that you don't already have. I still don't have a function that lets you add a unique item to your inventory, which is why you start the game with 0 of Liz's bracelet, as opposed to just not having the slot at all. So until I can get that working, this is the best way to hide things that you shouldn't have or know about. Speaking of items, I've added 3 new ones. The papaya, which can cure poison, the Easter egg, which can cure any status effect, and the raw potato. The potato is going to be a super rare item that can instantly raise your Ponpai's friendship meter, or automatically befriend an enemy, depending on who you use it on. Of course, if you're using it on an enemy, you still need to defeat them to properly befriend them. The reason it's a potato is because I personally happen to like a lot of potato-based foods. Right outside your apartment, there's a gastropade who will sell you items. I already had the Jareech and Caviterror sell you their 1 item each, but this gastropade is able to sell up to 12 items at once. It's much more convenient to build shops this way, from a player perspective. I built all of this as part of the dialogue box, so whenever you enter the shop, a background with some items is created behind the text but in front of the overworld, much like how I ended chapters in the last devlog. There was probably a better way of doing this, but hey, this way I can have the shopkeep talk to you before or after you shop. In the last devlog, I added the ability to give your Ponpai new attacks based on their friendship level. I've added a few new attacks to toy around with. Sketch, Peck, Heat from Fire, Sandy Kick, and Turret. The middle 3 are fairly typical attacks, but Sketch and Turret came with their own struggles. Sketch lets you copy an opponent's stats and attacks, much like Imitate, but only for 2 turns. So I had to use the buff-debuff system I already had, and add another caveat that transforms his stats, sprites, ability, etc. back to normal. It wasn't too confusing to add, but it sure is long and unwieldy. The turret is a new stage barrier, but this one attacks nearby Ponpai at the end of every turn. In order to detect which Ponpai were standing next to it, I had to include 8 areas surrounding it. But this caused the Ponpai to be unable to step in or out of there, because the raycasts that prevented them from moving out of bounds were getting caught up here. So I added an exception where they can step on these tracker areas, but then that meant that if that area was overlapping the boundaries of the stage, they would be allowed to step there. So I had to start defining just about everything to make it okay or not okay to step on. And that didn't work, so I divided it into 8 pieces and had them delete themselves if they touched the edge, and I'm tired. Finally, I promised myself I wouldn't do this, but I was scrolling through my ideas document and came across one particular Ponpai that I just had to include, as a treat to myself. Meet Killspike, the ultra-powerful god of mayhem. His attacks are Bloodblade, Black Hole, and Teleportation. If that wasn't enough, His ability gives him a 1% chance of instantly knocking out any opponent he hits, if he doesn't kill them in the first place. Of course, there's only going to be one of him in the game, and in the finished game I want him to be the reward at the end of a lengthy side quest. So for now, I've placed him inside the cave, where you can challenge him for his friendship. And that's everything. I've been very slow these past couple of devlogs, and by the looks of things, I don't think that will be changing soon. If you want to try the prototype out for yourself, the link will be in the description. Otherwise, look forward to the next devlog, where I don't know, life's been a roller coaster. I'll figure out what I'm doing next devlog when it happens. Thanks for watching.